So there's this good guy. He's called Sora, and he has a dream where it's like black evil, like little ants, and they like come at him, and he's like, "Oh, what do you want from me?" And then he's like try to fight them, but he can't. And then a key, a big key, pops, and like a blade. It's like a blade, but it's also a key pops in his
I
hand.
wanna
He's
go
like, "Oh, now I
home.
can fight." So he fights them off in the dream, and then he wakes up in the place that he lives in, which is Destiny Island, and he meets with his friends who are Riku and Kairi, and Riku's like, edgy boy, I have white hair, I'm cool. And Kairi's like, hello, I am fucking damsel in distress number 32. And like, they like do cool stuff, like collecting stuff to build a raft and like go off into the world. But then out of nowhere, the ant people, the evil creature come back and attack Sora. And Sora's like, oh, damn, now I got. What the fuck is that, my dog? Anyway, so like Sora fights them off, and he's like, I can't hit them because I have a weird fucking sword made out of wood, and it doesn't do shit." And then he actually manifests the whole key blade, the key that is also a blade that he dreamt out about, and he can actually fight them. And Riku's like, "Oh, follow me because darkness is actually good." And while that happens, he fades into darkness, and the big evil creature comes out. It attacks Sora, and Kairi is just nowhere. I don't know. Kairi just fucking is not nowhere to be found at this point. It's important later on. But while this is happening, Disney Castle, fucking Donald, Goofy, Mickey Mouse, not Mickey Mouse actually. Mickey Mouse, it cannot be shown too much in the game because Disney is fucking crazy over that mouse. So what he does is leave a note to Donald and Goofy like, "Oh, find me. I'm looking for Kingdom Hearts," and then he just name drops the name of the game, and then Sora fight after fighting the big creature wakes up in this town called Traverse Town, and he meets up with Squall slash Leon from Final Fantasy 8. What did I say? 18. Final Fantasy 8. And then he's like, "Oh, you do not know how to wield the Keyblade." And then they fight, and then Leon beats him. Even though if you win, you still beat him. And then he talks to also Yuffie and Aerith and Sid are also there. And for Final Fantasy, Sid for Final Fantasy 8 specifically, and they're like, "Oh, this kid, he's actually pretty strong." And then they explain to you that this evil creature are actually heartless, and they're like when somebody dies, their heart becomes a heartless in this world. Unless I think if you get shot, you probably don't become a heartless. Usually, if you just get killed by like certain weapons. Anyway, after that is explained, they also tell you that world can actually fall to darkness as well as humans. So what you need to do at this point is basically save all of the worlds and find their keyhole and lock them up from the evilness. So once that is explained, like Goofy, Donald, and Sora just kind of like stumble into each other and have to fight this big heartless dude. And after that is done, they get a spaceship from and Chippendale fucking pilot that ship. Fucking stupid. I don't know why, but like they're like mechanics, and so is Sid. But they're like really, they can make spaceship. Anyway, after that is done, they go through like a bunch of worlds, most notably fucking Olympus Coliseum, which apparently is just a fucking Final Fantasy world in this. Like Cloud is there, Sephiroth's also there. I don't know why. It's just a thing. There's also a fucking Auron from Final Fantasy X appears later on. Whatever. Also, beside this, is like the only thing that was like semi-relevant lore implications because in the background you actually find out that Riku, the reason why he said, "Oh, darkness is evil," is because he's being manipulated by basically the Sinister Six of Disney villains, and they're like, "No, follow us, Riku. You're good." But that's not true because after you get your ship upgraded from Sid, you go to this place called Hollow Bastion, and that's where you find beside you also find Beast and Belle from Beauty and the Beast there, but that's not important to the plot at all. You find out that actually Kairi and the other princesses that have been missing are actually princesses of heart, and that's important because like they can like do something. I don't know what they can do on. I don't know. They're just important. Just know that. Once that is done, basically, you find out that Riku is not evil because of the fucking villains, but because he's possessed by this guy called Ansem, and they fight to the death. And then Sora's like, "Oh, so Kairi's heart is in my heart." I don't know because Riku told him basically. And then Sora is like, okay, I need to kill myself. So he grabs the keyblade of Riku's keyblade and he stabs himself with it, and he dies and becomes a Heartless. But as a Heartless, he's still himself, and he finds back Kairi, and Kairi hugs him, and he becomes a regular dude again. And after that, they're like, oh my god, we need to stop Riku and some thing. And then they go to this place called End of the World, and there they basically fight him to the death. And there's also, and but like, you can't beat me. And then they find Kingdom Hearts door, and they like kill Ansem thanks to Kingdom Hearts, kind of, but like not really, because he appeared, whatever. Anyway, Mickey Mouse is also there, and what they do is Riku and Mickey close the door from the inside, while Sora, Goofy, and Donald close them from the outside. And then they close the door. Kairi drifts back to Destiny Island, and Sora, for some fucking reason, is still stuck not at Destiny Island, and he just finds himself in a fucking green field, and that's the end of like fucking the first game. But then like it begins immediately like the second. Like they find this castle, like it's full of like evil people. Like the head, like for now it seems like the head of them is this guy called Marluxia, and he's like a bad guy. He's like got pink hair, he's got a scythe. I think he's an allegory for death, but I'm not too sure about that. He looks very sick in his final form. Anyway, you also find these other people that are called Axel, Vexen, Zexion. Axel is like the only important one you need to remember from this game. The other one are like kind of filler, and they kind of just die very fast. There's also Larxene. There's also Alexius. Larxene like uses like the only girl of this whole like association. They just call them association for now. And what they do is basically have this castle where they try to attract both Riku and Sora so they can steal their memories for some reason, thanks to this girl called Namine, which they're keeping hostage. And from Sora's memory, they form this replica of Riku, which is called Repliku by the game, but not by the characters. I don't know, honestly. I don't know how that. They just call him Repliku, okay? And what they do is have him fight against Sora, but then sometime also they go, but Sora kills them. Except that time that Axel actually is cool. Axel is cool because he's like, oh no, you got that foot. If you fail, you are bad. And then he kills Vexen because Vexen fucking died because Axel killed him. And then and then after that, basically, Sora fights Marluxia. Riku is also there after being trained by Mickey Mouse. Yes, Mickey Mouse trained him, and he kills Repliku, and Sora kills Marluxia, and then they free Namine. But Namine's like, okay, so now you got to sleep in this pod because you need to restore all your memories, but you will not remember me. So she writes into so like Jiminy Cricket. Oh yeah, Jiminy Cricket is also there. It's like the encyclopedia, like the bestiary daily. It's like he writes in the book that he's been writing. Thank Namine, so they don't forget. They could just write down, oh, by the way, there's this girl called Namine that saved your life, and you forget about her because whatever. Let's just ignore that. They just kind of get into the spot and forget everything about. So they don't remember anything about this game. This game, the only people that remember anything about this game that are alive is just Riku. So like that happens. Change of memory. That's the fucking second game, and then the game ends with this fucking other blonde guy with fucking uh fucking blue eyes, and his name is called Roxas, and he lives in this really cool looking town, and that's what happens there. So that's actually the second game, because after this, it's called, another game comes out called Kingdom Hearts 2. And people are like, oh my god, finally the game to that one game I played 4 years ago in 2002. I can play the sequel. And then you start playing the game, and you start playing fucking Roxas. And you're like, who the fuck is this guy? Why am I playing as him? What does he do? Why is this place so pretty? I love Twilight Town. It's such a cool city. So like, Roxas is like, oh my god, I don't know what I have to do. And he lives in a simulation, basically. And it starts glitching out. And he's actually living in a simulation of a town called Twilight Town, right? And like he like has friends called Pants, Holed, and Aner, and also fucking other Final Fantasy character there. They're like just fucking, they just slam Final Fantasy character around every time, every chance they get. Fucking Setzer is there. From Final Fantasy, why is he there? Why is he just a guy that like beats people? Whatever. That's not important to the plot right now. So things start glitching, and this hooded figure with like red hooded figure, which appeared actually in Chain of Memories as like a important character called Diz. He's like, ooh, Roxas, you need to make Sora wake up. And we all know if we play Chain of Memories, even though back then nobody did, what this is talking about. But we don't know why Roxas is like that has anything to do. Well, that's happening. Axel goes into the simulation with Roxas and like, oh, so you don't remember me? I fucking how could you forget about me? And it like hints to the fact that these two actually have a history with each other. And then he's like, after Roxas finds out about everything, he gets his memory back. He remembers being friends with Axel, and once he goes to this mansion, like in like there's like this computer room. He goes inside and he's like, "Oh, Axel, I remember you." And Axel is fucking pissed at this. He's like, "Oh, you remember me? I'm so flattered." And he just fucking fights to the death with him. And then it looks like Roxas beat him. And he found the pod room where Sora is sleeping because it's there now. It's not in fucking fucking the Castle of Remembrance anymore. But like so he touches Sora and Sora is back, even though he's grown now. He's a 1 year older. He's been sleeping for 1 whole year, and I don't know why Goofy and Donald didn't need like any sort of like, I don't know how they woke up. They just kind of did before Sora. That's not important. So Sora wakes up and he's like, "Oh damn, where am I? What is this place?" And he wakes up in the real Twilight Town, not the simulated version, because Roxas, to find Sora, he gets out of the simulation from the simulated Twilight Town and goes back into the fake one, and he finds this guy called Pants, Oled, and Aner, which are not the same guy that knew Roxas before. Well, they are, but like they knew him when it was digital, and like it's not them. It's not they're like the digital version of these characters were in Twilight Town, but these characters are real. They shouldn't be as important as they are, but they are. Remember them later on. So Sora starts fucking going back to the first place they decided to go to is Hollow Bastion, because like that's fucking there's gonna be the hub area. There's gonna be go back like there's so many times. It's fucking crazy. So basically Hollow Bastion, right? Hollow Bastion has been known now, important thing, as like this world that has fallen to darkness. I don't know why they decided to make a society there. With like there's like cities there. There's like people living there. There's like shops, whatever. He goes there, meets back up with Final Fantasy gang, but then what black hooded people again are here? What are they? They introduce themselves. They're called Organization 13, and the head of this organization is called Zemnis. I don't remember when this is told, when anybody talks about this. I'm just gonna say it now because I feel like it. And they're like, "Oh, you do not know the Keyblade power, and we are gonna fight you and kill you because we love darkness and we are nobodies." And you're like, "Okay, what the fuck are nobodies?" Basically, up until now, in Roxas prologue and now, these white creatures have been appearing as enemies, and they're called nobodies. So remember when somebody's heart gets killed by those weapons that I talked to you about before and becomes heartless? Well, the shell of the heart that a heartless comes from becomes a nobody. So once you think that, you're like, wait a minute. Sora became heartless. And then where is his nobody? Turns out we find out later on that his nobody is actually Roxas. What the fuck? And that's why we needed Roxas to fuse back with him. Why? Even though he could perfectly work fucking without a nobody's part before? I don't know. The plot wants you to think that's important, but that's not even anyway. Half of the game goes where you go through all of the Disney World, like hell yeah, and then you actually leave the Disney World like not completed, which is because halfway through the game, once you visit all of them and complete the first act of each world, you go back to Hollow Bastion, and coolest fucking sequence in any game ever, you find out first of all that Ansem is okay. You gotta follow me here, right? Ansem is actually this guy with white hair and yellow eyes, very important, who actually stole the name from his master Ansem. This Ansem here, the master of the Ansem that we know, is actually Diz, the red hooded figure. But the thing is that Ansem is both the name of the person and the name of the heartless that it originated that was made from this person. Meanwhile, the nobody is Xemnas, the head of Organization 13. So we have Ansem, the actual blonde, red-hooded guy, the good guy. He's good. He's the good guy. Then we have Handsome Person, the Ansem's Heartless, which is also called Ansem, and then Ansem's Nobody, which is also called Xemnas. Turns out that even though he did steal his name, this guy's true name is Xehanort, which is how I'm gonna call him from now on. Otherwise, if I keep calling everybody Zaya Ansem, I'm gonna go fucking crazy. So once this is done, Heartless go crazy because your Organization 13 told them to do that, and they fucking 1,000 of them attack Hollow Bastion, and then they fight each other, and then there's like a huge war. Goofy dies for a little bit, not important. And then you fight this guy called Demix, who's like another member of Organization 13, and he controls like water, and he's like dance water dance, and I want to kill him, and I want to stab him several times because his fight is so fucking hard. And after that, you fight the Heartless, which is a cool little sequence with like a huge. I don't know how they did that in PS2. Actually, it was a complicated. Anyway, once that is done, actually, Hollow Bastion becomes purified from evil and becomes Radiant Garden, which is the name that Hollow Bastion had before it turned into its like dark form. Anyway, once that happened, you just go back through all the Disney worlds, have Organization 13 pop up every now and then, like, oh, fuck you, Sora. And then after all that is done, you go back to Twilight Town and go back into the simulation because Pence, Hayner, and Olette are somehow tied to Roxas, even though the four of them have never technically met. They met the fucking digital version, which are not tied to the real person in the slightest. They made this very clear. And once that is done, the reason why they have to go to the fucking simulation is because that way they can open a portal to the Organization 13 HQ, the end of the world. Well, it's actually not called the end of the world. It's called the fucking fuck. How the fuck is it? I don't remember how it's called actually. Hold on. Is it called the Final World? Fucking Final World Kingdom Hearts 2. The world that never. I didn't even look it up. I just came out to me. The world that never was, where Organization 3 has their HQ. They go there. Sora becomes a god, cuts through building, fucking flies, defies gravity. It's crazy. You have an epic showdown. Him and Riku comes back after. So Riku comes back halfway through the game in first in the Land of Dragons, which is Mulan's world for some reason, and he actually looks like Ansem the Heartless, not Ansem Xehanort. Ansem the fucking Xehanort's Heartless, and he looks like that because he needs to like take off his bandage, fucking not bandage, fucking not bandages. He also has bandages at some point, but he also has to take off the fucking blindfold. That way he can become his real self again because Ansem took part of his body. So he like in fact I don't know. He just looks like Ansem, and then he takes off his fucking blindfold, and then he's not like handsome anymore. I don't know. It's fucking stupid. Anyway, Riku's back. He's actually a good guy now, and he helps you fight Xemnas, and you kill him, and everything seems okay until end of Kingdom Hearts 2. There's like two final things. First, two final cutscene. First one is Mickey Mouse ending. Mickey Mouse is also there now. Mickey Mouse is actually present in this game, and he's the one who tells you about Xehanort and other important lore stuff. At the end of the game, he just sends you a message, like, and they don't tell you, just show Sora reading this, like, oh my god, we need to go help King Mickey. He doesn't even say anything, and you just see him in an expression. After that is done, we get the final, like the final cutscene, the secret cutscene. If you did everything and you completed 100% of the game, this also happened in the first one where they showed something that doesn't even happen in Kingdom Hearts 2. Anyway, after that is done, basically what happens is in this cutscene there are three armored people, and they're like fighting this bald guy with yellow eyes and another fucking black haired fucking person with like harless. It's crazy. It just doesn't make sense. But it, like at the moment, like hype, you're like, oh my god, what's going to happen? Is that Sora? Well, it is Sora. Thing is that the moment one of these guys, like, they start breaking their masks off, and one of them actually becomes uh kind of like Xehanort that we know, and then another girl is like kind of like Kyrie, but she has blue hair, and this other guy is just fucking Roxas. What the fuck? This guy is like Roxas. It's crazy. Like literally Roxas. Like fucking, he has his hair, his fucking blue eyes. That's gotta be Roxas, right? Let's fucking tackle that when it happens. Anyway, remember how I said that Rox? Oh, by the way, at a certain point at the end of the world, Roxas fucking has a fight with Sora's in his mind, and he's like, oh, and they like make up in each other's mind because they live in the same mind now, and like, oh, maybe it's okay if I can be part of you. And turns out at the end of the game also that Naminé was Kyrie's nobody, but because she's pure of heart, she doesn't generate a heartless, which doesn't make any sense. But anyway, once that is done, that's the end of Kingdom Hearts 2. But remember how I said that Roxas and Axel knew each other? It's because they actually did. They were best friends in another game called 358 Days Over 2, which means a game that takes over 358 days to complete, but it's completed over two characters. The story, I mean, that's not how the gameplay was. It does have a day system, but that's not important. In this fucking game, turns out Roxas was part of Organization 13 as fucking like the 14th man. There's like 13 people, and he was the 14th. And him, Axel, and this other friend called Shion, they were all actually fucking part of Organization. They were evil people, but they didn't know what they were doing, and they like fight and they like have this whole situation. I don't want to go too into the lore here. What happens basically? Shion was a dummy made out of Sora's memory, and at a certain point in the game, Roxas kills her because fucking Xion is being manipulated by the Organization 13. Axel doesn't know what happened, gets mad at Roxas. Roxas forgets everything, gets put into the simulation by Ansem so he could save Sora, and that's how fucking 38 over 2 days ends. It ends with Roxas fighting Riku, and then Riku's like has the blindfold on, like the secret cutscene in Kingdom Hearts 1, and then after getting beaten by Roxas, like, oh shit, you're very strong. No wonder you're his nobody. And then he takes off his blindfold, and that's when he becomes like Ansem, and actually also has I just remember something, that the fact that he has the shadow, the same shadow that Ansem uses, and he looks exactly like him, which later on you'll see the fact that Riku has his shadow puppet, his stand, doesn't make any sense. Yeah, basically also Ansem in the first game had like stand, like heartless kind of guy with like bands, like fucking bandages on his mouth. It's gonna be important later on. But that's 350 over 2 days and Kingdom Hearts 2. After that, so you think that already is pretty complicated, but the thing is that fucking Nomura is stupid because he made the deal. He's the person I think that like made the DLC, or at least kinda, because after every game came out, they decided, you know what? How about we release the same game again, but with more stuff on it? And you know what? Think pretty good. What if I want more of the same game? That's a great idea, honestly. Except they added all of it at the end of it. There's almost nothing. Like for example, in Kingdom Hearts 2, what they add is the only thing that they add in the between is just a keyblade and a fight with Roxas in the middle of this when like he fights in Sora's mind, and after that they had the most important part of lore in Kingdom Hearts 2, which is a fight against the armored guy from the secret cutscene, and he talks with Sora, and he talks about how he remembers him or is like fucking connected to a person that he knows, and it's very important because this ties into the next game, Birth by Sleep, which is actually a prequel. Huh? How do what? Yes, it's a prequel set like 50 years, like, well, technically 10 years back, but if the moment in which it begins is like technically whatever, for the sake of the argument, we're saying that it just starts 10 years before Kingdom Hearts 1 starts. And here we're introduced to the three characters from the secret intro, which are Aqua, Ventus, and Terra. And Ventus is just Roxas. He literally this looks exactly the same. The eyes are different, but besides that, he's like Roxas with a different clothes. And this fucking fucked me up as a kid because this was like one of the only other games I played besides like the numbered one. It's like, what the fuck? Why does he look like Roxas? What does that have to do with anything? The reason is at the end of the game because what happens is that you know how uh artless and nobodies are a thing. Well, how about we add an even other enemy type to the series? They're called the Unversed now, and they're these people who are actually like they're negative emotion. Okay, so they're actually originated from a source, not from a person specifically. So they're not like the heartless and the nobodies, because when you kill a heartless and a nobody of somebody, you actually bring them
I
back
have
to
a
life. So
family.
that is a joke in this series. That's very important. So they live in this place called the Land of Departure, which just fucking. Imagine living in a place called yes, I live in the town of the middle of the game. Yeah, that's where I live. There's like a couple of nice pizza places there. You should probably visit. It's like really nice. It's like really good. But anyway, they live there with their masters, and this fucking shit is when you start noticing a fucking pattern of having character named after Kingdom Hearts 2. This trend started, but we start having character named the same because the masters are, first of all, we got the fucking main guy whose name I don't remember. He's like very fucking like little like imagine samurai master guy. That's if you that's like his archetype. He's like honorable and he fights for the light. And he's nice and he's cool and just fucking overall good guy. And then there's also this other guy called Xehanort, just like the evil guy from Kingdom Hearts 2. And him and Master fucking Ericus, which is the other guy I was talking about, I don't remember the name, his name is Ericus. They're like students. They have they're students. Ericus's students are Terra and Aqua, and there's this other guy, Ventus. He is Xehanort's student, and they have basically apparently remember how Sora was chosen by the Keyblade and that's bullshit. Everybody can manifest a Keyblade apparently. There's like this whole like all back like talking about hundreds of years back there was this whole cult of like people wielding keyblades and being keyblade wielder, and I'm not talking about Kingdom Hearts key today because fuck that. I'm not if I, This video will get is already fucking gonna be 40 minutes long as for like the sake of a joke, and I'm not gonna make it like 2 hours long because I'm already out of breath and I doing this all in one take and I want to die. Point is, they're making their master markery exam where they basically tell them, oh, you're a Keyblade master if you pass this, and what they just have to hit a couple of like light balls. It's very stupid. Anyway, so Terra is like, oh, but the darkness is fighting me, is helping me. And then he started like fail the exam because of these fucking darkness. Because Xehanort actually manipulates the light ball under wraps, and Ericus actually finds out about this and gets mad at him. But that's like something that happens like off screen, and after that whole shit happens. Ventus like, you know what? I'm going out, and he goes out actually. Away because Terra has been told by Master Xehanort to like go on a quest for getting his of his mark of mastery, and Aqua goes after Terra to look after him because Ericus told him so, and Ventus goes after Aqua because he's a little baby and he needs his brothers and sister because it's basically like a brotherly bond that these guys share. But yeah, they go through the classical Disney shtick. Terra is just a fucking plank of wood. He is literally the stupidest person in the whole thing, and he goes and he the idea is that Aqua means the good guy, Ventus means like the other people, and Terra meets the bad guys or fights against the good guys, which is really interesting because it started like giving you fights against the main like good characters of the Disney character. You have a fight against Peter Pan where the fucking Terra beats shit out of Peter Pan, and I thought that was very funny and everything. But yeah, after this whole quest goes on. So one other thing, Xehanort's like actually start manipulating the quest that these guys are on, and with this guy called Braig, which look extremely similar to an Organization 13 member called Zigbar. He's very important. He's like really important for the story later on. And after that is done, they basically Terra goes back to land of departure. Erica's like, oh, you're evil now, I have to fight you. Well, not that. Actually, what happens is that Ventus is being used by Xehanort in the background, and this other guy is called Vanitas, which actually looks a lot like Sora, but he has black hair and yellow eyes. And he's like, oh, you are evil and are a danger, because Xehanort Ventus is nothing but an experiment that Xehanort has been using to forge a weapon whose name I don't want to say because I'll say later. But let's not talk about it. Ericus finds out about this and wants to kill him. Terra kills Ericus to save Ventus, but like, oh no, Xehanort's made me do that, and he tries to hug him, and then Ericus dies, kind of like fades into Terra. Also very important. There's a lot of fucking stupid scene that later on you find out are very important. But all that happens, and Aqua finds out like, oh Terra, what did you do? So that's when they like all like group together and like, oh, I'm sorry, I need to make up for all I did. They kind of like hug each other like, okay, we gotta fight Xehanort and kill him. So they start fighting Xehanort, and basically the secret cutscene from Kingdom Hearts 2 happens. And what happens is that Ventus gets fucking killed, Aqua is traumatized, and Terra gets possessed by Xehanort, which was his entire plan all the time. And that turns out that that if you take Terra's hair, change it to white, and get his eyes to become yellow, you'll find out, oh my god, who would have thunk? He looks exactly like Xehanort from Kingdom Hearts 2, and that's why he looks like that. They're the same person. Who would have thunk? So after that happens, Terra's will stays alive and goes inside of the armor, which helps him fight Xehanort off to Radiant Garden, and Aqua takes Ventus. And in the meantime, what she does, is fucking try to keep Ventus safe. So she makes Castle Oblivion, the castle from fucking Chain of Memories. After that happened, he goes off to find Xehanort, fights with him, but she gets stuck in the realm of darkness to try and help him out, because in the end it is Xehanort, but the body is still of Terra's. So that happens. She gets lost in the realm of darkness for 10 years. Terra is Xehanort, Ventus in Castle Oblivion. They're all fucking. Ericus is also dead, and Xehanort's plan is going just as he please. What's his plan? Trying to fight 7 pieces of light against 13 pieces of darkness to make the Keyblade. Keyblade spelled as in the Greek letter key, sorry, Kai, and if you put them together, they become Keyblade. Not the Keyblade, it's a Keyblade, which is a separate thing. So stupid. But yeah, that happens, and that's cool and all. The story is very good. Would be good if characters were stupid as they are, but we're Kingdom Hearts fan. We'd really just like fucking take whatever we can get. So that happens. After that, Recoded also happens, and I'm not gonna talk about fucking Recoded because it's literally filler. You can just skip that. Like fucking, there's a whole situation about what happened. Basically, Recoded was the reason that happens is what Mickey wrote to fucking Sora. There are glitches inside of Jiminy's journal. I don't know how there can be glitches inside of a piece of paper, but fuck that. We're not. That's not important. Fuck that. I don't want to. Important one is that in the background, Maleficent is still alive, and she actually said it. Was that? She actually said it with Pete from fucking Steamboat Willie, and they're like comedic villains, but they like they're kind of menacing. They help in the Thousand Heartless battle. I don't care about them honestly right now. So after that, we're almost there. Dream Drop Distance happened. What's Dream Drop Distance? Tamagotchi. Basically, remember how they introduced the concept of the Marco Mastery exam in Birth by Sleep? They're like, oh, wait a minute, we have Keyblade, Riku and Sora are Keyblade wielders. They need to take that too. So Yen Sid, yes, Yen Sid, the guy from Fantasia, and he's also important. He's the master of it's the current master. It's fucking not. Kyrie is also like good now, and Axel comes back and this anyway. They take the Marco Mastery exam, and their objective is to wake up sleeping worlds. Not worlds that are falling to darkness, sleeping worlds. They're different things. They go there, find Dream Eaters, which is yet another type of enemy, and they're made from dreams. That's very simple, honestly. It's not as hard as you would think. And This is when we start getting introduced to the new Organization 13. Why? Because, yeah, so turns out the main baddie of this guy is Ensam. I was like, okay, sorry, I mean Xehanort. Okay, that's cool, but he is young. He's the younger version. So Nomura decided, yes, let's add time travel to this bullshit. And we notice how the Organization 13 is back up in numbers. They're almost 13 again because they started time traveling. Hell yeah, time travel. Best plot device ever. So after that whole kind of worm is opened, Axel comes back as Lee, which actually Lee is the somebody of Axel, aka the person that he was before he turned into a nobody. And Lee actually had a little like interaction with Ventus in Birth by Sleep, which I guess is why he became friends with fucking Roxas. I don't know. And also, fucking, I forgot to mention Ventus's heart is broken, and part of his heart went inside Sora's heart, which is why actually he cannot wake up, and that's why Roxas looks like Sora. I guess why not? Point is, Sora tries to do Sora things and ends up failing the Marco Mastery exam, even though he saved almost everybody, despite the fact that he got kidnapped at a certain point and fell asleep and was about to be used by the Organization 13 for like their deeds. But let's not ignore that they beat Xehanort. They beat this fucking Ventus armor Dark Dream Eater thing. Riku does. Riku also. You can play as Riku and Sora because they're like their mastery, but you play as their young version for some reason. And also, oh, by the way, the gang from the world that never the world ends with you is also here. Go off, I guess. And Traverse Town has become a sleeping world too, because okay, let's just fucking throw everything at the wall. And Lee, at the end of the game, manifests a Keyblade, because why not? Let's give them out. Also, Kairi gets a Keyblade. Well, she did in Kingdom Hearts 2, to be fair. She didn't get it here. So at the end of the game, Sora failed the Marco Mastery, so he needs to do it all over again. So he goes off to another quest, which we don't get to see, but whatever. After that, he forgets all of his abilities because we need to start level 1 every game because that's how RPG works. Lee and Kairi decide to take a fucking training for the Keyblade. Riku and Mickey go off to look for Aqua in the Realm of Darkness because Mickey knew Aqua and he knew that she was stuck there for 10 years and she just left there to rot for over 10 years. Which is even funnier when you play the next game, which is a 3-hour demo of the Kingdom Hearts 3 engine, 0.2 Birth by Sleep, which is after 3D Dream Drop Distance. What happens there is that we found out what she did before waiting those grueling 10 years, which is basically find out how the Realm of Darkness works, be with Mickey, because Mickey tries to save her the first time, because of course they're friends. Of course he's going after her to save her. They fight this big Tower of Heartless in the room of Kingdom Hearts from Kingdom Hearts 1, which is where Mickey pops up. And very important detail, because they give Mickey his Kingdom Hearts 2 outfit in this, where he has a shirt. At the end of the game, he loses his shirt after getting hit by Heartless, so they can make the scene a little bit more canon than what it already isn't. So that happens, and then after all that is said and done, Kingdom Hearts 3 happens, where we waited 10 years for this. We actually did, because Kingdom Hearts 3D came out in 2013, and the next Kingdom Hearts game was 0.2, which came out in 2019. And then Kingdom Hearts 3 came out in 2020. And like, yeah, so that whole thing happened. We waited a long time, and you know how Nomura opens the game? They opened it with a prologue called Kingdom Hearts 2.9, because haha, so funny. This series has so many games and so many weird names. Teehee. So Kingdom Hearts 3 begins, and of course they go off to Mount Olympus, and the plot of the game does not start up until the very end of the game. They're like really tiny tidbit where like Riku and Miki are in the Realm of Darkness. There's also this little scene that gets cut off, and at the beginning I thought, did I skip the cutscene accidentally? Because it gets later focused in the DLC. So what happens at the very end of the game is that everything gets patched up. We go off to save Ventus because now Sora Aqua is saved from the realm of darkness. Thanks to Sora, Riku and Miki were useless. Aqua brings Sora to Ventus so that his heart can reconnect and become one again. Ventus fights off Vanitas because he also is there like to fight Aqua. Riku gets a haircut at the beginning of the game. Very important. He gets attacked by Wave of Darkness, and he gets a haircut from them. They ask him. Riku asks them, "Hello, Mr. Heartless. Could I get a haircut a little bit off the top, please?" And then they get given the haircut. This actually happens in the game. I'm not messing around. After this happens, Ansem is also alive. I don't remember when it happened, but he is alive even though he sacrificed himself in Kingdom Hearts 2. Then we found out the new Organization 13, which is made out of fucking Terranord, which is the original version of Xehanort in Terra's body, young Xehanort, regular Xehanort, fucking Repliku. Yes, well, so there's Repliku, and there's also because our Repliku, the one that Riku killed, went back in his body, and Riku has had this whole time this second conscience inside his mind, which like helps him kill him at the end, I guess. Because yeah, okay. There's also Larxene, Zigbar, Marluxia. They came back as nobodies though. We could have had fuck. I don't actually I don't remember if they're nobodies or not. I'm gonna be honest. They fucking that confused me a bit. I think they're nobodies. I don't want to go up and check right now, but like yeah, they are also back. And there's also so there is fucking Vanitas there too, and every Ansem and Xemnas are also there. Point is very weird because fucking uh rock the Terra Nord is not. The thing is that Terra died. Terra just died because Terra Nord is not that Terra Nord that we find in this place is just one that they took from another time in space, because our Terra is still in Lingering Wheel, the armor. Because what happens? Time travel. They whatever. When they decided to like just fucking go there and fight the people from New Organization 13, and they get bodied by Terranord. Except for the fact that we find out that Donald Duck is the strongest black mage in all of the Square Enix franchises ever, because he can cast Zeta Flare, which is like one of the god tier spells, like of Flare, and he kills Terranord. But then everybody else gets bodied because Donald dies. Everybody dies. Sora turns out that he was not prepared, so he like goes into this limbo where he meets a Charity, which is an important Dream Eater character from the key games, which I'm not gonna tackle. And he fucking goes back in time from the beginning of the fight, but like with newfound confidence and our help, like literally out like the people that played Kingdom Hearts Key on the key back cover on the phone, the 300 the first 300 in the leaderboard are in the game now, and they help Sora fight fucking the bad guys, this fucking huge wave of Heartless, and they kill everybody else in the Organization 13. Terra comes back. Xion is also there for the new Organization 13. Saix also is there. Saix is like this blue-eared guy who's also friend with Axel, but we don't know that unless you play 358 over 2 days. And they all die. They all come back though. Like Xion snaps out of it. Terra turns out he was actually the Heartless that was behind Ansem's back. Ansem the Heartless back all this time. And he comes back and breaks out of Terranor's control, and he regains his body. Everybody's happy. Sykes, because Lee kills his nobody, he becomes a normal person again. So at the end of the game, they're gonna all chill out. everything is happy besides for the fact that Kairi is useless and gets killed in the middle of the fights. Because she is useless even though she trained for a long time. After that happened, Sora's like, "Oh, fuck you, Xehanort," and kills him because he's strong. Turns out at the end, though, before he dies, Xehanort gets redeemed because actually he has a backstory, and they made a mobile game about it with a whole fucking long ass story, which happened hundreds of years ago. And Eraqus comes from Terra's body because remember at the ending of Birth by Sleep how he like fucking disappeared inside of him. He actually got his art to say inside of Terra, so he could take so they like go back to like the younger self, the version of them being young, and they go back. And it's important because at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 3, we have them playing chess because that's what they've been doing, playing chess with light and darkness because they're like the two main people. And so that happens. But at the end of the game, we have a secret cutscene, which is where we have Sora, everybody playing on Destiny Island's beach, and we see in the distance Sora and Kairi together. Yay! But wait a minute, Sora disappeared, which means that Sora sacrificed himself somehow to save Kairi, and we don't know how that happened or why that happened, which is why we have to buy the DLC. In the DLC, what they do is basically have Sora do the whole fucking time travel bullshit again so he can fight the fight for the third time but better and go to Scala at Kylum, which is this place that fucking helps the Xehanort go to Kingdom Hearts or is inside Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts the moon, mind you, not the door from the first game. And Xehanort after this he like gets killed also in like this like new we also get like to fight as the Keyblade people and also after that we get a dual fight that Sora and Kairi do. You can control Kairi in this and kill Xehanort again for good, which brings Kyrie back, but not Sora's because he gave up too much power to do that. And after that, we got Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memories, which is yet another fucking game. This time it's a rhythm game. It still has plot relevance. Remember how we're in Disney and Merlin and the fucking fairy from fucking Cinderella is also a character in this. Well, she lore dumps to Kairi how to get Sora back because it's like dreams or memories or I don't know. And so Kairi does a fucking Tron and she goes into this digital world kinda memories and he fights she fights her trauma Xehanort, and would be really cool seeing if she actually fought Xehanort, but for whatever reason she becomes Sora, and Sora fights Xehanort, and I don't know what happened in Melody of Memory. I played the game with the most. I don't know what happened. I'm going crazy. I thought this video thought would have been fun. I don't know what I'm doing. Why did I just waste like 40 minutes explaining this? I'm going crazy. I don't want to do this anymore. So did you enjoy it? Can I go home now? No.